But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is earning the biggest headlines down at South by Southwest in Austin.
I think all of these things sound radical compared to where we are, but where we are is not a good thing. And this idea of like 10% better from garbage shouldn't be what we settle for.
All right. With that, we bring in our talk radio panel, Ben Kissel, Jeff Crouere. Gentlemen, nice to see both of you. Ben, really, lowest unemployment rate in 60 years, the stock market at an all-time high, wage growth at a 10-year high, and it's garbage.
Well, the question is, are people seeing the benefits of this supposedly wonderful economy? In many ways, they're not. When she talks about, this is AOC, of course, I don't agree with everything she says. I agree with some of it. I'm more of a moderate person, and, I think we do have to be careful not to alienate
Be careful. Moderate is becoming a dirty word in the Democratic Party, Ben.
What's that?
I said moderate is becoming a dirty word in the Democratic Party.
It doesn't matter. In the general election, that's what matters the most.
Okay.
You need Wisconsin, you need Michigan, you need these states where being a moderate won't necessarily be negative. But when it comes to AOC, she is pointing out some things that I think are completely valid. There are some capitalist tendencies that we have in this country where we are doing things that we're benefiting people for doing things that are negative for humanity. You look at the private prison system. You look at Geo Group. You look at Core Civic. We have Wells Fargo paying $100 million to Geo Group. This is private prisons just for suffering.
Okay, Ben, hold it, fellas, 1 second. To Ben's point, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's talked for a long time, about 90 minutes. She said something just to Ben's point. We'll take a listen and then get Jeff to weigh in.
Our nation is being more productive and more wealthy as a whole than ever before, but that wealth is being enjoyed by a very small amount of people. And the reason for it is not systemic inequality or runaway hypercapitalism or the fact that we've taken away all the guardrails of a responsible society. The reason is Mexicans.
That makes sense to you, Jeff?
No, but let me just say this, Leland. I want AOC to be the Speaker of the House. I mean, I want AOC to be the spokeswoman for the Democratic Party. The more she speaks, the better chances Donald Trump have for re-election. I love her getting on camera. Green New Deal, talking about open borders, talking about socialized medicine, talking about 70 to 90% tax rates. Leland, I mean, I think this is just wonderful for the Republican Party. Let's get more AOC. Let's talk about AOC's agenda.
No, she doesn't.
Because it's not the agenda of the American people. It's not
what
the
she's talking about there is maligning a group of immigrants, again, mostly immigrants in our private prison systems, as opposed to for the reasons why people can't find a job. But the reason people can't find a job is because of automation.
Ben, hold on 1 second. Let me get a question. I understand you're hung up on the private prison systems. It's an issue that has been brought up and litigated a number of times. We're not going to figure it out here. In the larger sense, does Jeff have a point that if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez becomes the de facto spokeswoman for the Democratic Party, people in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin who are working-class voters who came over to vote for Donald Trump are not going to be pulled over to the Democratic side by the Green New Deal and socialism? It's just not where they're at.
You know, there are some aspects of what she talks about that I do think would resonate in those areas. Obviously, she's not running a general election. She's far too young to even run for president. It's not happening anytime soon.
Leland, if I could interject here, Leland,
go ahead, Jeff.
Let me just say this. You're talking about, the border, and our other gentleman brought up the border. There is an invasion going on right now. Did we just look at the February numbers? We've got an historic number of people trying to get into this country illegally. We have got to do something. This is an emergency, Leland.
We're not going to take this to the immigration panel, but it brings up an important point, Ben, that whether or not the facts speak to an invasion or not, you talk to people in the Rust Belt, you talk to unemployed workers in Ohio or Indiana, they believe there's an invasion, and they believe that open borders is a real problem. Go ahead.
It's an invasion of robots. It's an invasion of automation. That's exactly what's happened here. And when it comes down to, Facebook, when it comes down to Google, we have a situation.
When you go out and talk to folks, that's not how they think. I want to get to this point quickly. So much of what Jeff has done and has talked about on this program and others before is tying what is happening in Venezuela, the socialist experiment there that has ended in a humanitarian disaster, that is indisputable, to the policies of the radicals on the Democratic left. Here's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when she's asked about Nicolas Maduro, the dictator in Venezuela. Take a listen.
As a democratic socialist, I'm wondering if, what are your thoughts on the Venezuelan crisis that's happening right now? Maybe you would denounce the Maduro regime.
Yeah, so I think that this is absolutely a complex issue. I think it's important that we approach this very carefully.
That's the best she can do, Ben?
No, Maduro is bad. I'm very brave. Hashtag brave. Maduro is bad.
Well, you appear to be braver than she is. She can't seem to say that. She can't seem to say that he's murdering his own people and starving them to death.
It's obviously not working out very well in Venezuela, and that is certainly a fear tactic that will be used against people like AOC.
All right, I got 30 seconds. Jeff, you get the last word. Ben got the first.
Can I just say this? Socialism sucks. Okay, socialism does not work. This country was built on capitalism, Leland. The American people are not going to go toward a socialist candidate, and the Democrat Party is going in the socialist direction. And I say go to the socialist direction, Democrats, because you're going to lose big time in 2020. This is great. This is music to the ears of Donald Trump.
Noteworthy.
I love it, actually. Socialism is actually not going to be embraced in 2020. I guarantee you that.
Diverse field in the Democratic Party this year.
Even John Hickenlooper, the businessman and beer man from Colorado, former governor, had a hard time saying that he was a capitalist. So at least that label is perhaps toxic in the Democratic Party or
but then we also
problematic. Ben, Jeff, appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.